listener production.
Doing a daily podcast and trying to make content for TikTok was becoming too much. So Matt and Alex are having a little time off.
We are not to be disturbed.
This week, it's Veronica Milsom and friends. All day breakfast.
Yeah, what a beautiful day it is to be filling in for Matt and Alex. It's been happening all this week, and I'm not just leaving their seats warm till they get back. I have been heating them up, baby. I've got the heat dialed up to 11 and my bum is red hot. My name is Veronica Milsom. You might remember me from Triple J, which I actually only left last year, which is so weird, right? Like a whole pandemic ago. Back when we were worried about where we were going on holidays rather than whether we would ever go on holidays again. Ah, the good times. My co-host, my friend for today, is the host of Brooke and Linda's Dream Club and the new music podcast, The Spin. It's a lady called Linda Mariano. Hello.
Linda Marigliano.
You've got 2 culture podcasts. You must be like cultured up the wazoo.
Yeah, I'm a cult at this stage. I'm basically a yogurt. I'm basically a cult. And I'm so honoured that I'm sitting here keeping a seat warm too, because you know I've got some really fiery buttocks over here. We've spoken about how much I love snacks. There's a lot of farting going on. It's like it's warm as hell.
Although I must say, you do love to broadcast standing up and dancing while you're kind of doing it, like stretching mid-chat.
True. So I'm keeping the air warm, not so much a seat.
Yeah. Do you have any culture recommendations that we need to be across on any genre?
Well, you know that I love The White Lotus, the Mike White TV show that has just wrapped up. So that is right on Binge. You can watch that. That's an HBO series where you'll just fall in love with Jennifer Coolidge all over again in every episode. Mm-hmm. I've started watching Survivor, which I just love the drama of. I can't stop watching
who got
it.
You onto that?
I think just boredom of being in lockdown and just watching it a little bit for the first episode and kind of just getting hooked on people that get to do stuff that I can't do right now, which is roam outside a 5-kilometre range of where I would normally live.
Yeah, and vote other people off. Like
and just be outwardly and inwardly bitchy. It's so fascinating.
Well, Linda, this is a safe space. And, Matt and Alex don't publicly say that this is like the bitchy podcast, but all this week it's been like the bitchy podcast. So feel free to let loose.
Okay, great. We're stepping into high school teen territory.
Everyone ready? Let's get this show on the road. Let's go. Here we go.
Veronica and friends. All day breakfast.
Yeah, I'm a sneaky, snoopy person. And actually, Linda, I recently learned so are you. Because
what do you mean?
I learned this because I was tagged into a video where you said this and you admitted that you stole people from Triple J officers' food from their desk.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you're quite sneaky and snoopy as well.
I'm very sneaky, very snoopy. I have been my whole life. I think it's because I have such a strict mum, which instead of making me a disciplined child has made me very sneaky, Ron. Very, very sneaky.
So what was did you ever steal any of my food?
I don't think I stole anything out of your desk. What Ron is referring to is the fact that I had a bit of a loose lips moment on a podcast recently where I was talking about doing the evening shift at Triple J and sometimes getting a little bit snacky at night. And when I've eaten through all of my snacks, I know who else in the office has good snacks. And it's often the breakfast people because they have to have breakfast. And so there'll be cereal in certain drawers. Yeah. And then I know that your old producer, Ed, he would have Vita-Weets in his drawer. I know that someone else would have Vegemite, peanut butter and butter in the fridge.
Yeah.
There was just a plethora of things that I would snoop and I would consume, but lightly consume so people wouldn't notice.
Yes. I mean, unfortunately, the location of all of this food is not news to me. I also knew it because I'm equally sneaky and snoopy.
Did you have it too?
I used to, definitely. And Lewis had really good almonds, Anyway.
Lewis did have good almonds in his second drawer.
So I bring up that I'm snoopy because all this week I've been enjoying doing some deep dive detective work on all my co-hosts. And Linda Mariano, the things I found out about you. Okay, so feel free to correct the record for anything that is false.
Okay.
All right. Way back, you played bass guitar in a band called Teenagers in Tokyo. Sounded like this.
Correct. Oh my God, correct. That's me. That's me, slapping the bass.
Do you play bass at all anymore?
No, I don't. I still pull bass face when I'm out at concerts, but I have not picked up the bass guitar in a number of years.
Okay, second one. You did long distance in a relationship for a long time, an international long distance. But now it's sort of done?
It's sort of done for the moment. I have reunited with my partner, of whom I was separated from for almost a year and a half due to the pandemic. Oof. We reunited about a month ago, but we will be getting separated again due to Australian travel bans and visas and everything else that gets thrown at it.
Oh, man. And then do you know when the next non-separation is, or you don't know yet?
We don't know yet. We have to figure it out. We have to let the chips fall where they may.
Oh,
and hopefully
man.
That will not be May 2022.
No, I mean, fingers crossed. I'm sure it won't be. All right. When travelling internationally, as you did quite a lot when you're in an international lover long-distance relationship, you pack very light. Only a tiny carry-on, outfits that crumple easily.
Yes, that is very true. I don't know how you remember that or found that. Yes, I would always pack, there's like a certain brand that's all pleated, and I would just scrunch pants and tops into a ball like the size of my fist, and I could fit about 20 of them in a handheld like a luggage bag, like the one that you go onto a plane with.
Yeah, that's ridiculous. And you are a smaller person than me, but I would never be able to do that, live that crumple life.
Live that crumple life, Ron. And I just can't wait to get on a plane again.
Yeah.
I can't wait to crumple clothes into a bag again.
I don't blame you. All right, this next one I'm dubious about because it doesn't sound right. Twin Peaks is your favourite TV show?
Whoa, where'd you find that?
On a video where you talked about your favourite TV show. I was like, oh, that's BS. That can't be right.
Well, it would be definitely one of my favourite TV shows. At the time that I would have answered that, I bet that it was my favourite TV show. Now, because of the pandemic and how the onset of loneliness and depression hits you,
Survivor.
I feel like, no. I feel like it would be something more like Schitt's Creek, you know?
Yeah. That was so good.
It was so good. It was just absolutely heartwarming in every single way.
Yeah.
But Twin Peaks definitely up there. I'm a huge David Lynch fan.
I mean, yeah, he's pretty good. It's a far cry from Schitt's Creek, though, isn't it? Ultimately?
It's a far cry.
Yeah. You once did an impromptu 3-hour set in Poland, DJing, and someone spooned ground coffee into your mouth.
Yes, they did. They also spooned other stuff as well.
All
but
right.
for the purpose of this, it was just ground coffee.
Whoa.
And yes, it was a 3-hour DJ set because the actual DJ, I think, passed out drunk next to me. And they were like, does anyone know how to use these things? And at the time, I was when I was living in London with the band, I was DJing heaps as well. And I was like, give me those decks. Big mama's coming on board. And before I knew it, the sun was up. Someone was giving me some sort of pickled herring in a jar and spooning coffee.
Wow. I mean, I'm just happy you lasted the night and that it wasn't like a revolving door of DJs that just got spoon-fed things.
It probably was. They were probably signed on for 1-hour sets each and I ended up doing 3 of them.
Get off.
Get off.
Okay.
Stop playing.
I got 2 more.
Okay.
Your dad is directly descended from American gangster Al Capone?
Yes, he is, because my nonna is. So my dad's mum, so my nonna, who I'm named after, Nonna Carmelinda, her maiden name is Capone. So she's Carmelinda Capone.
Whoa. That's crazy.
My family's very rough around the edges when you dig a little deep.
Yeah, I feel like there's a documentary in that, you getting back to your roots or something. Actually, there's already an SBS show where that happens. Doesn't matter.
No, it's all right. Axe it. I'll do it.
And this is one that I feel quite embarrassed about. I saw you on Tuesday this week.
Yeah.
Was it your birthday?
What?
Was it your birthday on Tuesday?
If I say yes, do I get something?
I don't know if it was like one of those websites where it actually also says Linda Mariano's net worth. So it could be wrong.
Oh, I love those websites because it normally does height, shoe size, net worth, and I guess birthday.
Yeah,
okay.
man, you're a millionaire. I'm loving it.
Did it say millionaire? I think I checked it once and it said something like 2 million. And I was like, I'm happy with that.
Yeah. So it's not your birthday?
It was not my birthday.
Oh, okay. Gosh, I feel much better about that. I was just like going red when I found out that.
Because you saw me and you weren't, you were just your boring, normal, regular self. And you weren't bells and whistling around me.
That's right. Okay, no, I've got a bonus one. And this is weird, but when you Google your name, you're actually involved in some sort of novel where your name is a character's name who's had like a crazy affair. It's in a book called The Wolf of Sarajevo.
What?
I know.
Really?
Yes.
Linda Mariano?
Yes.
No
Maybe
way.
it was your nonna.
No way.
Get on it.
You know, once I was sitting in a very small cafeteria in Rome and these two old ladies came up to me and they told me that there was an artist that had been drawing my face his whole life. And I thought, this could be the artist I'm meant to be with. This is my long lost, I don't know, artistic person. But maybe it's not that weird painter from the 1950s who's now like 90 years old.
Wow.
Maybe it's actually the author of this book.
Wow. This has been like, you've really got your money's worth coming onto this podcast today.
Jesus, I'm also going to lie about my birthday from now on.
Yeah, well.
Did it say? I hope that it said I was really young.
It did. Happy 18th.
I'm 9.
Oh, yuck.
Veronica Milsom and friends. This is All Day Breakfast.
If you're in a lockdown city, you'll know that there has never been a hotter time to take a walk in a park. Damn, the parks are heaving right now. And not even like the good ones too, but like, actually the good ones, any park next to water or even like a dingy creek, it is bumper to bumper. You're getting amongst it, Linda.
I am power strolling left, right and centre. You will see me in the morning, about 11 a.m. Then I'll go back around 2 if I've got a phone call. Then come sunset, I'm out there strolling away. And every time I stroll, and you better believe it's near water, it's always on the grass and it's always right through the havoc that is a dog park.
Oh, yeah.
There's a million pooches and I'm getting amongst it. I love it. There are just dogs everywhere.
You don't have a dog?
No, I don't.
Oh.
That's my reveal in that I am walking around the pooches, but I don't have a dog. And here's the thing. I think it's really lovely that I'm out there playing with some hounds, looking at an Australian Shepherd, looking at a poodle, looking at something that has the most amazing haircut ever and maybe a rose, a little bow in its hair. But I don't own one of those. And is it okay for me to be cutting sick through that dog park, playing with these pooches, sometimes even getting my boyfriend to take a photo of me with one of these poodles?
Oh, okay, without consent.
If one of these dogs is not mine.
Yeah, I think like enjoying their company is fine, but I think if you're like getting rough and tumble with them and then doing like cute pics and stuff.
I'm not posting them. I'm not a total psycho.
They're just for you to look back
Just
later.
for me. Like I sit and look at them at night.
That's almost weirder, I reckon.
Well, so I've got like a couple of folders. Some is like food pics, there's nudes, and then there's dogs.
Yeah,
That's the folders on your phone.
Yeah. See, I don't actually I'm not obsessed with dogs at all, and I don't even spend much time in dog parks, but I spend a lot of time in playgrounds because where I live in Sydney, you can actually bring your kids to a playground. And I don't touch other people's kids, but I definitely chat to them and don't get consent from the parents because my kid Lila, who's 3 years old, makes me be a wingman. It's like a real, like, hark back to my nightclub wingman days where she's
You've
like,
got a pass.
Hey, yeah, she nods towards them and she's like, those ones. I'm like, those ones, you talk to them. And she's like, you do the introduction. And I'm like, oh, what? And so I walk over and I notice one of them is wearing like a Peppa Pig thing or whatever. And I'll be like, oh, how good's Peppa? My kid loves Peppa. And then she walks over. It's exactly the same as when you're like, hey, do you think my friend is hot? And then the friend walks over. Yeah, Yeah.
It actually is. See, that's the kind of rapport that I would like to have, except I don't talk to the dog owners.
Yeah.
And I just start playing with the dogs.
Maybe
at all hours of the day.
See,
I think that that's okay, right? Surely.
well, I mean,
Like, I feel like you're giving me a weird look, like this. Being a bit of a creep, being a bit of a puppy
I guess
creep.
it's because I think it. Yeah, I think my look is
You are
accurate
thinking
to
it.
my
I knew it.
So we got a text from, a message actually on Instagram from Matt in Adelaide, and he says, as long as the pup's tired when we get home, I couldn't care less. So he's more concerned about himself, actually, because he's like, well, as long as the dog's tired, as long as you're running laps with it, I couldn't give a hell shit. I keep thinking I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this podcast.
I couldn't give a hell shit.
I couldn't give a hell.
But see, that comes from, what is my friend's name on Instagram?
It's Matt.
Matt, okay, well, see, Matt's a dog owner, so Matt knows. This is straight from a dog owner's mouth. He's saying that it's okay, and in fact, I feel like maybe I'm doing Matt and the fellow Matts out there that own these dogs a favour, because otherwise they're having to run around all the time. They're the one with the sticks. They're the one with the balls. They're the ones, making sure that the dog isn't doing too many laps in the ocean pool or something. I'm there looking out for them.
Yeah, I feel like Matt should be taking advantage of your doggy neediness. Like he should be charging his dog out at an hourly rate. You'd pay top dollar.
I'd pay top dogger. I do think I probably stink of desperation though.
Yeah.
I think it's incredibly obvious that I
you don't have one.
Yeah, I'm actually thinking maybe I should buy a leash or just at least hold around some of those garbage bags, like those poop bags.
Yeah, I mean, go all the way with your props and just fill them with a little bit of poop.
That's what I'll do. And I'll buy
commit.
the green ones that are like the compostable dog poop bags.
Yeah.
I'll take a dump in my own ones and I'll carry it to the park. No one's going to think I'm weird enough to do that. Like, then of course I've got a dog.
We've sorted it out. That's the answer. Carry your poop.
Matt and Alex are having a lockdown holiday, which basically means they've turned off their emails for a week.
I'll get back to you.
In their absence, this is Veronica and Friends, all day breakfast.
Now, one of the most upbeat, bright side of life people that I know is Linda Mariano. But the other person is on the phone line right now. She is someone you have to meet because of the way she sees life. It is so infectious. Her name is Bryony Benjamin, and she's got a book out now which is all about the cancer journey that she's been through. The book is called Life is Tough, But So Are You. It's very bright, it's very pink, it's very yellow. You can't miss it. And it's Bryony's learnings after being diagnosed with stage 4 Hodgkin's lymphoma at 31 years old. It is filled with inspiring stories and so many takeaways. And she joins you now. Hello, Bryony.
Hello. Thanks for having me on.
Bryony, I had a look through your book today. It's just come out now, right?
Yeah, it just came out last week. Yeah.
This is it's not only something that everybody can relate to, but it's something that is extraordinarily close to your heart. Was it a real sad, happy, everything moment when you saw it on the shelf?
Yeah, it was quite an overwhelming moment. When I saw the book for the first time in print, I actually filmed opening it and I just burst into tears because I think it was, it felt like an achievement to have it there and have it in my hands. But just to think of everything that I'd been through to get to that point, I think it all just sort of flooded back and kind of overwhelmed me in that moment.
Well, I mean, you made both Linda and I cry today. I'd already seen the video that you made, which went kind of viral about like you only live once. If you want to see it, like Google Bryony Benjamin, you only live once. That's the name of it, right, Bryony? I haven't stuffed that up.
Yeah, you only get one life.
Ah, God, okay, definitely Googled that and not what I said. But so that was all about like beating cancer and how precious life is. How did it feel putting your story out there for the first time initially?
Yeah, well, I think, when I first got diagnosed, I didn't really know what was going to happen. I hoped that I would get through it and survive. but I didn't know. So I think it was kind of comforting to start just documenting, not really knowing what I was going to do with it. I just wanted to start filming. And I think it gave me a bit of distance from what was going on. You know, it was kind of like, oh yeah, I can still be a filmmaker. I'm having chemo, but I'm also a director. But yeah, so I turned that into a short little film called You Only Get One Life, and putting it out, like, it was a little bit nerve-wracking because, you know, you're not looking your best when you've got no hair and no eyebrows and whatever. But ultimately, I just got so many lovely messages and so many people that, you know, reached out to me and said things like they'd reconnected with their mum who they hadn't spoken to in years because they saw the video and just went, you know what, I'm being pretty petty about this. And so getting that encouragement from the video going out just made me go, oh, I just want to, you know, I want to just keep sharing this. And if there's helpful gems along the way that I learnt that can make someone else's journey through something easier, then that felt like a really nice thing to be able to pass on.
It's so perfect. It's that line between diving into someone's life as entertainment, but actually being given, and I'm using this in such a compliment, like it's infotainment, like we're learning along with you. Yeah. And it is about that thing of rising to the challenge when stuff just goes wrong and you don't get the plan A that you've been planning for. What do you think is the biggest change that you've seen in yourself from getting that diagnosis to now?
I think, so many things. And I write at the end of the book that people always say, you know, how's it changed you? And I think it's changed me in a million different ways, but also so many of those changes are about coming back to who you really are and reconnecting with things that you forgot along the way are really important to you. And I think I'm probably more selective about the energy that I hang around now. I'm still dealing with chronic fatigue post-cancer. So, like you literally don't have as much energy. So you're very, very careful about where you spend it, who you spend it on, what activities you spend it on doing. And I think, you know, an illness or crisis like that, it does give you this sort of golden guilt-free permission slip that we all should tap into, but we often don't feel we have access to, just to say, no, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. This is what I want to do, and this is where I want to put my energy. So I think, yeah, just being really conscious about the people that I spend my time with and the activities that I do. And just taking everything at a bit of a slower pace because, one, I'm kind of forced to, but it's kind of nice as well, you know.
Yeah, you talk about in the book about ways that you can chat with people who are going through cancer recovery in like a helpful way. Was that because people didn't know how to talk to you?
Look, I was really lucky in that I feel like a lot of my family and friends were just really intuitive and they knew what to say. But of course, in the spectrum of everyone that you meet, you're gonna have the odd person who's just gonna say an inappropriate thing, or your dad who just, you know what dads are like sometimes with their dad comments. Oh, the day I'd shaved my hair, he just came out and said, oh, you look like a monk. I was like, thanks, Dad, like feeling a bit raw right now. He's like, oh, no, I mean in a really good way. I'm like, okay, I'm not really taking it in a good way. He's like, I mean like strong and good. And anyway, I was like, Dad, just stop. Yeah. But, I think I write about in the book, there are some classic phrases that we should all just steer clear of, like, all things happen for a reason, which is just not very helpful when you've just been given a cancer diagnosis or you've just lost someone you love or your marriage is broken up. People say them to fill the void, but they're not very helpful things to say. Also, just be positive, like, it's really, you just want to punch someone in the face if they say that to you because guaranteed you're probably trying your best, or even just things like, what will be, or, you'll be okay. Those things, once again, they just can just feel very dismissive and like the person's not really grasping what you're going through. And I just think the best thing you can do sometimes is while you want to jump into advice mode and just tell them what to do, it's like just sit with your friend, just sit in the rubble with them, hold their hand, let them know they're loved and just listen to them. That's kind of the greatest gift you can sometimes give a friend.
Wow. That was what I was going to ask in terms of if it's not the foot in your mouth disease statements that you're going to be making to someone, what are the nice things that you can do? And that is, like you said, just sitting and being that person for you. Can I ask, when you were going through the process and you were documenting stuff, were there days where you felt really triggered by everything? seeing people out or, complaining about problems that seemed maybe pettier to you at the time or those sorts of things?
Yeah, I mean, I think, you got to be careful what you're consuming when you're going through a kind of crisis mode. And I certainly have a much lower tolerance these days for people's drama. Someone the other day that I heard them saying, I've been having to teach Pilates via Zoom and it is like destroying my soul, like it is crushing me, like I'm losing the will to live. And I just thought, wow, that's really, I don't know. If
that's exactly the example I wanted.
Yeah. But yeah, I think, also just you do feel it's just that ultimate dose of perspective where you just feel so grateful for little things. And I think when you are struggling, and for a lot of people in COVID right now, there's so much uncertainty. We don't know when things are going to end. And I think whenever I can just it is true, that expression that there's always something to be grateful for. I remember going in for chemo and just feeling so grateful that I lived in a country where I could get chemo, and I felt so grateful that my body was strong enough to actually have chemo. And I think at those lowest points, if you can be looking for those little things, and I'm not saying you have to force the positivity. I write about in the book that actually you don't need to be Pollyanna. You can just sit there and feel how you're feeling, and you actually really need to allow that. But then the more you can just look to those little things that are, that you are grateful for, that are helping you through that day, and finding those little moments of joy in a day, they just really do help.
What are you feeling grateful for today? Have you had a think?
Yeah, well, I'm really grateful to be having a chat with you.
Oh,
Awesome
shut
legends,
up.
really.
That's what I was wanting you to say. No, it wasn't.
Tick, you can come back. My very naughty father went and bought 2 little puppies without consultation with anyone in the family recently, but it's very hard to be angry at someone who comes home with 2 adorable puppies. So I've felt very grateful to get a little cuddle with them today. And my grandparents are visiting at the moment because we're in Queensland. They're up from Tassie, and, just have time with them, and I think so often we spend so much time looking for the next thing and looking forward and thinking forward. And I often think now how much I would pay one day to come back to this very ordinary, very simple moment and just be in it and be in this body as it is right now. So I just try and enjoy those moments as I go now.
Well, Bryony, we were actually just talking about how Linda is obsessed with playing with other people's dogs. What's your take on this?
Me in again,
do you think it's okay?
I fully back that 100%. I actually write in the book, one of my happy hacks is, play with a puppy or accost someone else's if you don't have
my
one.
God, yes. This is what I'm saying, because I feel a little bit creepy during lockdown walking through the dog park, just fondling other people's house.
Okay, not fondling.
Playing with them.
If you have a puppy, I think it's your civil duty to share the love around with the community, don't you?
I agree, Bryony. You know what? This is the next book.
Yes.
Oh, thank you so much, Bryony, for joining us. Bryony Benjamin, Life is Tough, But So Are You is the name of the book. It's such a great thing to be reading, particularly if you're having a tricky time during COVID. Thanks for joining us.
Thanks, Bryony.
Thank you so much for having me. Loved it.
Matt and Alex are on a break. Matt's sorting out his wig collection and Alex is writing a long list of gripes ready for rant dogs.
Sort it out!
So filling in this week are Veronica Milsom and friends. This is All Day Breakfast.
Linda, I'm ashamed to say I've been solving a big problem I have in a very childish way, and I feel to my core quite ashamed about it. I was telling Adam and Simon on Tuesday, they're my Tuesday co-hosts, about how the previous owner of my house that I just moved into had buried a whole heap of their rubbish in the backyard. It's like they treated it like their personal landfill, which is horrible. Anyway, I've just spent the last couple of weeks...
What have you been finding down there?
Oh, shoes and bottles and trinkets and, all sorts of crazy stuff. A couple of chicken bones, which I was afraid were human
Incredibly
ones.
creepy.
Oh, really? And just so immature, to not actually think to put your rubbish out. Don't even start me on it. Anyway, so I already got a load of it taken away, right? But now there's just heaps more. I just keep unearthing, more and more. I've got, little garbage bins happening down in the backyard. And, I don't know, maybe it's just me, but I feel like I'm And so I was like, where can I put this so that I don't want to like rebury it and I don't want to have to take it all the way to the top of the house or to get someone to like pay someone to take it away. I think I'm just going to shove it under the house.
What do you mean? Like you've got extra room under your house to shove this old, ancient rubbish?
Yeah, which I guess I feel like is as much of a like jerk move as the original people who buried it. But I don't know what to do about it. I feel like it's the outdoors version of like sweeping something under the carpet.
Yeah. Who are these people? I'm baffled by this. I'm also kind of intrigued.
Yeah, exactly. But I mean, I guess just like pushing something to somewhere I can't see it has always been something that I've done. But as like a child, you know, that if you like had your parents' grog or whatever and you spewed on the carpet, then you would like put a rug over the top of it. But I thought like as someone who's grown up now, I should be able to find a better solution. But I'm not. I'm just going to have to own it. I'm shoving the stuff underneath the house, other people's crap.
This is the scenario where you should think that you've matured past it, but really, sometimes the most simple response is kind of the best. I feel like I am guilty of this as well.
Why? What have you done?
What haven't I done? I feel like I'm incredibly childlike and childish, both things. It's, you know what it is? It's normally due to hiding stuff from my parents.
Yeah.
It's like I solidified the sort of sneak that we've established that I am.
Yeah.
The sort of sneak that I was at the age of like 13 or 14 has just kept recurring throughout my adult life. So now I'm in my mid-30s, but still, even, you know, I remember having a car accident and not wanting to take my car to the mechanic and not being able to take it for months. And so my dad just helped me gaffer tape it. And it was just there. Half like the bumper, half falling off. And then another time, I've had a lot of little bumps and scrapes in my car.
Okay.
Another time, I needed to hide the front of my car that I'd crashed once again, really quite badly from my mum for months. Like I remember calling the mechanic. One, I was a really cheap uni student. And two, I'm pretty lazy, Ron. That's the thing.
So you gaff it again?
No, I didn't just gaff it again. I just kind of let it be. I let it run its course. So there was kind of the air conditioning was ruined, the kind of lights. It was probably not legal to drive, but I just kept doing it. I'm really outing myself again here with the loose lips. But I hid my crashed car from my mum for a number of months by doing this childish thing where whenever I would meet her, and because she's got this real kind of strict Chinese mum vibe where nothing gets past her, I would make sure that I would park my car against a wall in a way that she wouldn't see it, and I would constantly distract her back to my car. So I'd be like, look over there, look at the sunset. Are they new earrings? My mum's really vain, so if I just talked to her about her appearance, she would always get distracted. Your hair looks really good today. Did you change the way you did your eyeliner? Those sandals from Whitner are a really great investment, were they? And to this day, she doesn't know. She also doesn't listen to any of the work that I do. No, she doesn't. I promise you, she does not. She doesn't.
I reckon, like, now that I am a mum, I know how, like, crap kids are at thinking you don't know stuff. Like my
You're
kids...
comparing me to your 4-year-old.
Three. Yeah, I guess I am. I think that you're as unsubtle as she would be. But she constantly, like, steals things from the fridge, and she thinks that if I, like, turn her... No, of course I let her eat. Like, I don't even know why she's trying to hide it from me. But then she thinks that she does it so sneakily and quickly that I'll be able to turn around and not see her. And I'm like, dude, I'm whip smart and very quick. You dumb 3-year-old. Anyway.
God, actually, I am quite like that. My dad would always call me the mouse because he would hear me scourging in the kitchen. I would say goodnight to my family. I'd go up to my bedroom. Then I would creep down the stairs into the kitchen, completely pitch black, and I would eat spoons of honey out of the pantry.
You are my 3-year-old. Hey, just on spoons of things, can I quickly say one last thing? Which just made me think of it because I thought of it when I saw the Kid Leroy on Instagram today.
Yeah.
Do you remember...
Yes, I know exactly what you're going to refer to. I know exactly what you're referring to.
At the Triple J one night stand in Tasmania when the Kid Leroy was just a wee child. This is like 2 years ago.
He'd just been born.
And he was just like hoeing into the Milo backstage because it was the only thing that he could drink. And it was like he'd never been introduced to Milo in his life.
Yes, I exactly remember that because I have mentioned that to so many people afterwards because it's like the perfect origin story of going, I knew the Kid Leroy back when he was just having Milo out of the spoon.
Yeah. Gosh, hasn't he come a long way?
Global #1, smash hit. Let's send him some Milo for his 18th birthday.
Perfect.
Matt and Alex think they're irreplaceable. We think it's pretty easy.
Bring in someone new.
Who are you guys?
Veronica and Friends, all day breakfast.
Well, that's it for today. Linda, thank you so much for coming in to help fill in for our favourite boys, Matt and Alex. There is a variety of ways that you can catch up with what Linda is up to. The New Music Podcast, The Spin, exclusive to the Listener app, or the one you do with Brooke Boney called Brooke and Linda's Dream Club. You can find the links to the podcast in today's show notes. But if you haven't heard the Dream Club yet, you should, because there is a really great bit where they give like ASMR advice.
Oh my God, Ron, when you filled in for the Dream Club this week, your ones were on point. I forgot how good your whisper is.
What? Oh, yeah, because I think I sass it up with a bit of, it's not quite whisper.
Really give it some swagger.
What's your best bit of advice that you've given or like in the whisper?
I think mine was, don't get adult braces. Oh, now I'm trying to do your voice with it.
Yeah, yours is actually quite different.
Yeah, you don't need them. Or like, eat the skin of your kiwi fruit. It's where the rough edge is.
Yeah, you know what? That actually feels true to everything we've learnt about you in the podcast because it's a very sneaky whisper.
It is. It's like I have a small counterpart and his name is Max and he's like jumping in front of the mic.
Well, Matt and Alex will be back next week with some of their best bits, but I've really loved hanging out with you all this week. Thank you for having me, even though you didn't have a choice. And do keep hitting me up on the DMs for all the things that I've said right and wrong on this podcast so far. I mean, I do prefer the right ones, obviously, but the wrong ones are okay too, because anything that feels like human connection. Anyway, thanks again, Linda.
Ronnie, thank you.
That's it. The all-day breakfast kitchen is closed. Got something to add to the show? Slide into our DMs at matt.and.alex. Listener.